Normally, we are at our worst when we can't step outside ourselves and see what effed up stuff that we are doing. People are saying it doesn't matter that Ortiz doesn't fight HRGOVIC because he's going to fight Andy Ruiz and it's going to be a big money-making fight when Ruiz only done 100,000 in an all-Mexican clash against Arreola. Now, the more I talk, I understand something. As much as I know I'm right, the more the PBC fan base will dig their heels in. It doesn't matter how much empirical evidence I bring to the table. They're going to dig their heels in more. Nevertheless, if one person from there can see the light, I would have done good work. You can't say it doesn't matter that he doesn't fight HRGOVIC because he's going to fight Andy Ruiz in this supposed money spinner, when the fight is billed as an IBF eliminator. That's what the fight is billed as. That's what it was sold as. No one came out from the PBC and said, no, this is not an IBF eliminator, it's just a 12-rounder. No sanctioning body attached. They didn't come out and say that. Now, when I'm talking about stepping outside yourself and see what you've become, look how much you have to exaggerate to make your fighters look like somebody. Calling this guy a boogeyman, the most avoided heavyweight, when he's just avoided someone who's the most avoided heavyweight in this current period of boxing. Don't let me have to list all the people that Ortiz has avoided and the offers he's turned down. And then telling us integrity plays no part in boxing. We bill it as an IBF eliminator and then go in a total different direction. If you fight an eliminator, a first phase eliminator, there's a second phase to go and you pull out, citing an injury. The injury is bullshit, right? Even if it is a legit injury, how long is he going to be out for? Because the winner of a potential final eliminator between Ortiz and HRGOVIC is not getting a title shot until at least 2023. So don't tell me he didn't have enough time to recover and take the fight. Not that I believe he has a fracture in his hand. And I don't need to see no medical reports, I just don't believe him.
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
I just threw it out there in one of the weeklies the other week when Mauricio tried to say Devin isn't a world champion, he's a junior champion, and that Kambosos is the undisputed champion. And I'm thinking, isn't that a lawsuit? You sold this guy some illusion that he's a world champion and now you're doing some bait and switch. And that's similar to what's happening here. It's billed as an IBF eliminator. Why did they bill it as that? To try and sell more pay-per-view and tickets? And now this hand injury writes you out for the rest of your life to fight HRGOVIC. Why didn't you come out and say, yeah, I'm ready to fight HRGOVIC, but give me a few months to heal yourself and recuperate, and then we'll fight? Nah, just that's that. How many times are fights postponed until a later date because of injuries in boxing? You get a lot of injuries in boxing. It's a combat sport. It's absolutely ridiculous to write a fight off because a fighter gets a hand injury. But like I said, you seem to get a kick, some of you fans, out of this stuff happening. Yeah, look, we're not taking the fight. You think it's clever. You think it's some kind of power play. When the truth is, this decreases Luis Ortiz's stock. He's losing credibility. A lot of boxing fans who might have liked to have followed along on the journey after him beating Charles Martin, I'm going to jump off the train and say, yo, this is why we didn't pay pay-per-view for the Charles Martin fight. This is why. And when they're certainly not going to pay for the Andy Ruiz fight. We're certainly not going to pay for it. Because he also turned down the HRGOVIC fight as well. When fighters lose credibility, your numbers will go down. But you guys who are pro-PBC, you know everything, can't tell you anything, and when the numbers come in really low, you're going to be talking about everybody's a hater because they're boycotting our fighters' fights. Look, you got to honour your word amongst men. Even if you're not friends with them, you got to honour your word, or your reputation becomes mud. I mean, you can call it a boycott, but then you could call it a reaction to you not honouring your word and not being who you say you are. Strap season, but it's never strap season against Crawford. Go get a belt and we fight. He gets a belt, no fight. Talking about this side of the street. Well, now he's a free agent. He can go any side of the street he wants. Not that he couldn't before. But what's the excuse now? You're a boogeyman who's ducked more heavyweights than probably anyone in the top 15. I'm fighting all killers. Since when? No disrespect to the channel who said this, because I like their channel, and you know, maybe they didn't think it through that deep. But they just said, oh, Eddie's being stingy, that's why nobody will take the HRGOVIC fight. I think people are forgetting the process of how this works. Because Eddie's out there all the time making the offers and there's no comeback offers in return for a lot of the fights he's trying to make, I think people think, well, if we can't get the number that we want from out of Eddie, the fight can't be done. It's finished, kaput's over. You do realise that other people can bid on title shots and eliminators apart from Eddie Hearn. Eddie doesn't have no ownership in the IBF belt or the eliminators. He puts his bid through like all other promoters. All comers are welcome to bid on fights and bet on their fighters. So all this Eddie is not paying enough or Cali is not paying enough is crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Eddie didn't ask Al Heyman, the PBC, or Luis Ortiz or Charles Martin to volunteer to fight in the eliminator. They chose to do this and didn't follow through after Ortiz won. And now they're not following through because the guy's saying he's got an injured hand. They didn't say it because they were getting lowballed. Ortiz and Martin, before they went in the ring, they knew what the purse bid was for the final eliminator. It's 600,000. So they don't even get the whole 6. They knew this and they still billed their fight as an eliminator. And they did that because Ortiz was ranked 10 and Martin was ranked 2, I believe, or 3 or wherever he was ranked. And you don't have to pay a sanctioning fee apparently unless it's number 1 and 2 going in the eliminator. So basically, it's false advertising. They've advertised an eliminator which they had no intentions of following through to the final eliminator. Just so they could get extra pay-per-view buys. Look, an eliminator for the IBF. We're going to fight HRGOVIC. And then we're going to fight Usyk and Joshua. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's false flagging. And nobody's fucking picking this up. Now, let's say the purse is $650 and he gets 40% of it, Ortiz. Yeah? If Al Heyman really likes Luis Ortiz's chances in the HRGOVIC fight, you do realise he can go into his own personal stash and top up Luis Ortiz's purse and giving him incentive to go fight the guy. You do realise this. They're saying he got a 500k guarantee against Charles Martin and whatever upside of pay-per-view. That's not going to come to nothing. They're not going to sell shit, right? So if he was getting 400,000 out of the 600,000 split with HRGOVIC, yo, just give him another 200, 100,000. That's what he's used to getting. That's all Al has to give him. Why is it just Eddie who's got to fork out money? The fight's not worth more than what it's worth. No one else has picked it up. Triller's not picking it up. The PBC ain't picking up the bid. Top Rank ain't picking up the bid and putting anyone in. Frank Warren, he could have put Daniel through if he wanted to and pitched up the money. But we all know HRGOVIC give Daniel a beating in sparring. Eddie and Cali are the only ones who put in. But they're supposed to put in more. If you win this fight, you're in line to fight Usyk, who might have 3 belts, or AJ might be the opponent. And if he's got 3 belts, we know what his earning power is. You won't earn a bigger purse in your life. So everybody gets not to risk their money, right? But DAZN is just supposed to give Eddie money just to throw at fighters that are not signed to DAZN or Matchroom. No one's throwing money about like that. No one's asking Al Heyman to throw money about like that, but they're asking Eddie Hearn to throw it about. Maybe it's because Eddie talks too much. Maybe he's asking for this, perhaps. But even saying that's ridiculous. Now, I don't know Joseph Parker's contractual situation with Matchroom and DAZN, but, you know, they do business together, they work together. If you're going to call him a fighter under any promotional banner, you'd say he's a Matchroom fighter. So if he steps up and he fights HRGOVIC, and he said, well, look, Eddie, no one else would do it. I'll take whatever percentage of the split, but you got to give me something on top. Well, that's up to Eddie to arrange something. There'll be an incentive there for Eddie to do that because he'll have options on Parker if he wins. What options is he going to have on Luis Ortiz if he pays him $2 million for an eliminator that's not worth $2 million? Why should he pay that? It's getting to the stage where they should just let HRGOVIC be mandated and done with it now. Close it off. I was just about to export this file, this MP3 file, to make the video. And Joseph Parker apparently has turned it down. Dan Raphael sources. Per team at Philippe HRGOVIC, Joe Parker has also passed on the IBF Eliminator for the #1 and mandatory. Never been a Joseph Parker fan, and this does nothing to endear me to him at all. He could have worked out a deal where whatever the split from the purse bid is, he could have got more. He could have worked something out, but he's chosen not to. So this mandatory thing is in crisis. It's in crisis for boxing because there's just way too many fighters who have turned down this fight. We've got Martin Bakole, Charles Martin, Luis Ortiz, Andy Ruiz, Joseph Parker, Michael Hunter. Hey, it's a great marketing tool for HRGOVIC though, I tell you that now. It's a great marketing tool. People can theorize that, they're just not paying enough money. That's why the fight's not happening. Yeah, you can do that, but it's a great marketing tool for him to say, yo, they're just avoiding me. They're scared of me, and why shouldn't he use it? He should. He should. And expose the heavyweight division. These fake contenders, expose them that this is what's happening in boxing. And label himself as the boogeyman. The real legit boogeyman. Why shouldn't he? And look at this guy, Parker. This is today. Tyson Fury is a different beast. Yeah, Tyson Fury is a WBC champion, and all you are is a pom-pom waver. That's all you are. And you're turning down eliminators bigging up Tyson Fury. Absolutely pathetic. I hope he spars with Tyson Fury and Tyson just beats the living crap out of him and retires him. Seriously. He's the same age as HRGOVIC. He's the same age, 29. But he didn't fancy fighting someone the same age as him, who's bigger, could be a bigger puncher. We don't know what kind of puncher HRGOVIC is yet because no one's giving him the chance to really test at what level he is a puncher. But he didn't fancy it. He's got over 3 months to prepare for the fight in April and turns it down. Probably Andy Lee's decision as well. Maybe Tyson Fury told him, don't do it, Joseph, man, you're going to get beaten up. Yeah, okay, Tyson, I won't fight him. I tell you what, Eddie, tell you what, I bought a few of his pay-per-views. The one with Derek, the one with Dillian. The second one was obviously on DAZN with Derek. Don't pitch no pay-per-views with him. Coming my way right now. Don't pitch none. Don't pitch any. If he's on the app fighting, fair enough. But don't pitch no pay-per-views with that geezer who lives near Australia. Not interested.
Let's fuck shit up. Let's fuck shit up. Let's go. Let's fucking party, cabrones. No fucking around.
I tell you what, Canelo is becoming increasingly scary ever since he decided to start communicating with the world more in English. It's good shit. Hey, Luis Ortiz, why don't you fucking learn some English? If you're gonna fucking duck, at least be able to explain it to us in English why you duck so much. Fake boogeyman.
Gangsta boogie, gangsta boogie, gangsta boogie, gangsta boogie.
Some people travel round the world for love, and they may never find. I can't sing really, but I prefer Bobby Caldwell to Dave Caldwell. I'll tell you that much now. Little Dave annoys me. He does annoy me. You know, old do-gooder Dave. I won't train Derek Chisora if he trains to fight Deontay Wilder. If your boxer targets a fighter, you're supposed to train him to fight the guy. Man up. He doesn't work for you. You work for him. Apparently, Ben Shalom wants Hughie Fury to fight Derek Chisora next. That's cool. When Frank Warren tried to get Derek as an opponent for Joe Joyce, Derek said, they're trying to use me as a stepping stone, so he wanted a bucket full of money, so it's going to be a similar situation here. So if they pay out, you know what I mean, and Derek takes it, I like that fight. I like that fight. If they put it on pay-per-view, I won't be buying it, though. So I bet you any money, old do-gooder Dave will say, yeah, we'll fight Hughie Fury. So what, the training camp for fighting Hughie isn't going to take a toll on Derek as well, if you're so concerned about him? Am I mistaken, or is Wilder coming off 2 stoppage defeats? And where is UK boxing going? You know, this is kind of like a flashback in the 80s when, don't fight them Americans because, you know, the British guys are going to get beat up. Man, it's like just defeated before the contest has even started. I mean, what is that? What is that? Let me just tell you this now. I'll tell you what. If you are from the UK and you've got that negative energy, don't bring it around me. Just don't bring it. No disrespect to anyone. Don't bring it around me. I like going forward. I like people who believe in themselves. I don't like people who are always looking at the other side to see if the grass is greener. Grow your own grass. And that's not a marijuana promotional ad.
Niggas talk shit and then you abandon shit.
Charles Martin, he said he's not discouraged by the loss to Luis Ortiz. He's eyeing a return in March or April. It's the third defeat of his career. He was arguably in front. Well, he had 2 10-8 rounds, didn't he? Going into the 6th. So you would assume that he was in front, yeah. He said retirement is not a consideration. That's what his manager, Mike Barrow, said. He was winning comfortably and got caught with a perfect punch. As history shows, it can happen to anyone. So they're looking at Deontay Wilder, Andy Ruiz, Joseph Parker, Derek Chisora, or perhaps a rematch with Adam Kownacki. So you see, like, you ain't going to hear a whole load of Americans saying, oh, you can't fight Deontay Wilder because you just lost. Because I don't believe they have that type of negativity over there to their own athletes. I don't know. Maybe they should have a tournament between all the people who ducked HRGOVIC. You have Charles Martin, Andy Ruiz, Luis Ortiz, Martin Bakole, Michael Hunter. Joe Smith claims he's signed multiple contracts to fight Artur Beterbiev, but he's came up with injuries, Smith said. He was actually supposed to fight him after he fought Callum Johnson in October 2018, and he turned down the fight because he said he wasn't going to be ready in time because of the punches he had taken in the fight. Joe Smith said he was actually training to fight him for a few months and then ended up fighting Bivol instead because he backed out of the fight 2 or 3 times while Joe was in training camp. And you know, people never talk about that. They put it out as if Joe's avoiding him. But it's the other way around as far as Joe is concerned. That's how he ended up fighting Bivol. He said by the time he fought Bivol, he was training for months and months and he felt kind of burnt out at that point. Joe believes that neither Beterbiev or his trainer Mark Ramsey want the fight. He claims that Ramsey also trained top contender Eleider Alvarez for an elimination match against Smith, which Smith won by a 9th round technical knockout in August 2020 at the MGM Grand Conference Center in Las Vegas, and he actually looked pretty good, didn't he? Joe doesn't believe that Beterbiev wants to fight him or Ramsey. Speaking of Ramsey again, he said he was in Alvarez's corner when Joe put the beats on Alvarez. Joe saying they saw what I did to Alvarez, and he believes he made a statement. Bob Arum, he's discussed the inevitability of a meeting between the two. Smith has got the WBO belt and Beterbiev the IBF and WBC. Should be an easy fight to make. Everybody's on top rank. So is it true then? Is it not the case? Because a lot of us were led to believe that Joe Smith didn't want the fight. But, you know, Smith is turning it on his head. I've never heard Smith duck smoke before. So it was a bit like, for me, it could be true, but I didn't discuss it on my weeklies because I've never heard Joe duck smoke before. I've never heard that. Now, Beterbiev, after the Marcus Brown win last month, he had a nasty gash on his forehead. That's going to take a little time after he gets stitched up to heal up. But as far as I know, he doesn't have any mandatories on the horizon. And I think Smith, his schedule is clear. If Smith keeps that same energy, which people said he didn't have, there's no reason that fight doesn't happen next. Unless Beterbiev needs a tune-up. Or we have a big upset and Callum Johnson turns Smith over. Not a great fan of Sonny Edwards' style of boxing, but I like the confidence. He's calling for a unification. He has the IBF belt, flyweight, and Julio Cesar Martinez has the WBC belt. Martinez and his team don't seem bothered by the competition. Sonny recently outpointed Jason Mama on a Pro Bellum show. I believe he's a free agent right now. I think he said he was a free agent. Easy work for my boy, Eddie Reynoso, Martinez's trainers told BoxingScene.com at the possible fight between reigning titleists. Now, on Boxing Scene here, it says, long before putting a major alphabet strap around his waist, Sonny was keen on the showdown with Martinez, if not to settle old family business, because Martinez, he did put the hurting on Charlie Edwards. They said one of the blows were illegal, but it looked like a fair stoppage to me, but the result was changed to a no contest. I like Martinez and that unconventional style of boxing, and I like the fight. I like Sonny's confidence that he's not backing down from it, because let's face it, when you're talking flyweight, super fly, our boys haven't done very well against Argentinians and Asians in them weight classes recently. Haven't done very well at all. So that could end up on DAZN, I'm guessing. Hope it's made. I hope it's made.